The 90s. A decade of cheap gas, cheaper Urkel jokes, and unlikely video game mascots. It seemed like every game developer at the time was trying to emulate Nintendo's famous plumber. Most of these mascots never took off quite like they hoped, and now remain an oddball relic of time. This is precisely why we're counting down the top 5 forgotten video game mascots. Welcome to The Countdown. Number 5. What do you get when you combine Johnny Bravo and Buzz Lightyear? You get Blasto. This intergalactic ladies' man only starred in one game that was heavily promoted and actually adored by critics. Alas, it sold poorly because it proved too difficult for the average player. Fun and somewhat depressing fact, the game's titular character was voiced by the late Phil Hartman. You might remember him from The Simpsons and Jingle All the Way. And this game was released only 2 months before his tragic death. Number 4. Where do we begin with the infamous Bubsy? He was the star of a series of video games developed by Accolade Games, with similar platforming elements to Super Mario Bros. And Sonic the Hedgehog. This sarcastic little furball was awarded Most Hype for a Character in 1993 Electronic Gambling Monthly's magazine poll, and even got a cartoon pilot that was never picked up. But it's his 3D installment, Bubsy 3D Forbidden Planet, very clever there, Accolade Games, that's his most notorious. It's widely regarded as one of the worst video games of all time due to the horrendous camera angles and terrible level design. Funny enough, Bubsy's catchphrase is, "What can possibly go wrong?"
What could possibly go wrong?
Number 3. Keeping the trend of hip 90s anthropomorphic mascots going, developer Crystal Dynamics had a trilogy of hits starring the suave Gex the Gecko between 1994 and 1999. What made Gex so likable was his fourth wall breaking banter and cheeky pop culture references. Think Deadpool, but a gecko.
Hey, I feel like I'm trapped in Boy George's pants.
Despite mostly positive reviews and being the best-selling adventure title for the PlayStation in 1999, Gex 3 will remain the snarky mascot's swan song. But there may be hope for our slimy friend. Recently, Square Enix announced it would allow game developers to work on some of their old IPs, including the Gecko himself. Number 2. Who would have thought a worm in a robotic body would become such a gaming phenomenon? With 2 hit games under his belt, a cartoon, and a toy line, this pop culture icon tried to remain relevant for as long as he could, but slipped into oblivion shortly after the release of his third and final game, Earthworm Jim 3D for the Nintendo 64 and Windows. While an HD port of the original was released in 2009, there have been no recent plans to bring back the character to his former glory. Number 1. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. You may be thinking to yourself, those games were all great, but while that's very true, it seems developers have forgotten about Crash and what made his adventures so lovable. Quirky bosses, excellent level design, and catchy music are only some of the reasons the series excelled. At the height of his fame, Crash rivaled the Red Plumber himself and could easily stand on his own. But Crash has shown up in the last couple of years. We saw him in Skylanders, and it's just been announced that there's going to be HD remakes of the first 3 games. But that's not good enough. Crash needs his own game again. It's sad that one of gaming's greatest icons, if not more popular than Mario at the time, is nowhere to be seen. Who knows what Crash Bandicoot has on the horizon? We'll just have to wait and see. Thanks for watching this episode of The Countdown. If you want to see more episodes like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll be seeing you next time.